Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing well and staying safe. This is Radhika here again, and this video is going to be about how to deal with extreme pessimism after narcissistic abuse. So, this question was asked to me by a client of mine recently, and we had like quite a laugh about it because I loved the words that he used, extreme pessimism. And I've asked him permission, obviously, to share this with you guys for the wider audience. But when he said it, I truly got what he meant by it, and it was quite a light session, so we both had a laugh about it. um, so basically what he meant by this was that after you have been through like a narcissistic episode or a narcissistic trauma in life, um, your worldview kind of changes. Maybe you have dealt with your own depression and understood about narcissism, and you have therapy, etc. Everything has been done, but even after healing, a lot of people carry this worldview which is inherently negative. It's like the world is not a very good place to live in. People are judgmental, they are narcissistic, they are manipulative, they want something out of you. It's like me versus them kind of a mentality, and I truly get that why it happens in people. It's because you are just having a very logical consequence of the situation that you have been in. And that is what this client of mine was asking about, because he was in this stage right now, even after going through his own recovery and healing journey, but still his worldview was negative. So he was basically telling me that he wants to use things like affirmations and meditations and look at the world in a different way. But he said that he has almost resigned to a worldview where he always has to protect himself and where he always has to kind of know this practicality that everyone is kind of manipulative in some way. And because of that, he is not able to have that zest for life that you usually have, or that people should have, or some people have, and he wants to have that. So I kind of totally understand his perspective, and it's a phase in the journey, the extreme pessimism, that if you are feeling it, it's a part of the journey. And some practical steps that I have, or I suggested to him, are the ones that I'm going to kind of share in this video. So the first one is, which he had already done, is accept your extreme pessimism. So I say accept because a lot of people want to jump to being happy very quickly after narcissistic abuse. So it's like there's so many YouTube channels on it now, there's so much spiritual help, positive help, like things for positivity, etc., which are out there, that a lot of people feel that they can directly jump to being happy after, and the healing stage is going to be extremely small because there's so many resources available everywhere. But that might not be true, unfortunately, because everyone's healing is different. And also because you really have to go through the darkness to appreciate the light. And if you want to jump it, you are probably going to have something like fake positivity, and probably, which is also okay, you can go that route. You can kind of try to skip the dark part of it and go towards the happy part of it. But then what will happen is you will have phases in that being happy where you will actually have to feel it. So you might feel it in bursts here and there, where the negativity suddenly comes to the surface. So you might have like angry, like fights, or just anger spilling out of you sometimes, or sadness spilling out of you sometimes. You can go that route, or you can go the more organic route, which is of acceptance of every phase that you are going through. So that's the first step. Accept your extreme pessimism. Accept that an experience in your life has made you extremely bitter or resentful, or what do you say, dull or hopeless towards life. Just accept that. And once you accept that, it will be much easier for you to move on from it, because if you keep denying it, it basically you're spending more time in accepting your pessimism. So once you have accepted your pessimism, along with that, also keep this perspective that everything in life is just a phase. It's temporary. Nothing in life is going to be um, permanent. So basically, as the moon has phases, your emotions will also have phases. That's why the moon represents emotions. And in other ways, emotions are represented by water. So, like water flows, that's the same way emotions flow in a human being. And if you stop your emotions, if you don't feel your emotions, if you keep them stuck, they actually stagnate. Like water that doesn't flow, over time it stagnates. So it's your responsibility to always keep your emotions flowing. If you feel sad, just feel sad. If you feel happy, feel happy. If you feel depressed, feel depressed. If you feel pessimistic, feel pessimistic. Don't feel shame in feeling any of your emotions. So that way you keep your emotions flowing, and you keep, like the phases of the moon, you are always changing. And that's a good thing when you are always changing, and hopefully you are evolving and not going down. So that's the first point, which is like acceptance, and also acceptance of the fact that nothing in life is permanent. So if you're feeling extremely pessimistic at this point, you that will change. It will not be forever. And during this phase, there might be like a voice in your head, if you have an unhealed inner child, which all of us do. um, that unhealed inner child might tell you that no, from now on we are not going to trust anyone, or from now on, no falling in love again. From now on, we have stopped trusting men, or we have to stop trusting women, or we have to stop trusting elders. If a narcissistic person in your life has been um, elderly, or we have to stop trusting our bosses, or all these things um, will be said to you by your inner child if you have a hurt inner child. So if that happens, just listen to your inner child, because the inner child is trying to protect you. But do not take on this persona of always being an angry person, or always being a guarded person, or always being like a bitter person. um, and even the inverse is true of always being this happy person. So don't wear any emotion as a personality. Let your emotions come and go, and let your personality be like a shapeshifter. One day you can be happy, the other day you can be sad, or in a day you can have like seven different emotions. There's no right way to be. So just accept that. And even if your inner child is kind of trying to put on this persona on you so that you don't get hurt again, just tell the inner child that it's okay, I know you're trying to protect me, but we are going to be fine. Um, and then another thing he asked me, my client, was that he wants to have like sneaky ways to kind of feel alive again. So basically, what he meant by this was that he finds it very artificial to say affirmations, or he finds it very artificial and inorganic to kind of like make it as a, what do you say, a mission in life to be happy, which is okay. You know, a lot of people, they go down that path where they decide they want to be happy, and then they do affirmations and meditations and, you know, like eating well, eating healthy, exercising, and being positive, having a good self talk, etc., which is totally fine. But a lot of people don't want to go that route, and they want more organic things. Or, I mean, I would say even the other thing is organic, but what I mean is more, in a way, easy, or something which is not as obvious as reading an affirmation. um, so he was basically asking me, what do I do, because I feel very weird when I do such things like saying an affirmation and um, sitting in meditation, etc. So for people like that who do not like doing these things, there are some, in his words, like sneaky practical steps that he can do, or you guys can do, whoever doesn't want to do the very typical things. So the first one is get into your body. So when you have been through narcissistic abuse or some very emotionally moving situation like that, you tend to be in your head a lot. So you're thinking and you're overthinking and you're analyzing and you're trying to make sense of it all. So what happens is you disconnect from your body, you disconnect from your senses. So it's important to get back into the body, to get back into the senses. How do you do that? So just enjoy the simple things that you do in life. Like when you get up in the morning and you have a cup of tea, or you have a cup of coffee, or you have a cup of juice, whatever you do in the morning, just make it a habit to enjoy it. Start your day by a pleasurable or enjoyable activity, whatever it is for you. So start your day like that, and start using your senses more and more. Start smelling things, start looking at designs or beautiful things, like something in nature, like a flower or a tree or a cloud. um, Spend some time in observing things around you and using your senses to do that. So this is a sneaky way of getting rid of overthinking. So you're not actually doing anything very obvious, but the effect it will have is that you will start enjoying life a lot more through your senses, because the senses have been given to you to experience this life. And that's what you'll start doing when you start getting into your body. Then the next one, I kind of mentioned it, observing beauty. So this could be in anything. Okay, you can observe beauty in form, like another human being that you like, an actress that you like, a celebrity that you like. It could be something in nature that you like. It could be anything. It could even be a car. You know, it's not like it has to be something very natural. It could be like a car model that you really want or you really like, and you just look at it again. Or it could be like a design that you like, or a building that you like, etc. So when you kind of look and focus on something that is giving you that good emotion, what happens is, even if you don't actually say it out loud, even if you say don't say to that person that I think you're beautiful, when you observe beauty, what happens is, um, innerly you have this deep appreciation for something of beauty. So when you're extremely bitter, it can be very hard for you to look at beauty. So you have to do that. You have to kind of still find something that you find beautiful, and try to focus on it for a few seconds or a few minutes if you can. So this could be also a great movie that you like, that you have seen in the past. You can see that again. So when you have this appreciation for this thing of beauty, you automatically go into a feeling of gratitude. and you don't actually have to say gratitude affirmations or write a gratitude journal or something like that. But observing beauty is like a shortcut. It's like a almost like a trap to go into gratitude. You don't even know you are feeling gratitude, but you are at an energetic level when you appreciate something of beauty. Then the next one I have is move your body. So this is again getting into the senses, but in a different, very practical way. So join a class or dance or jog or do a form of martial arts like kung fu or karate or um, taekwondo, anything, or get into a sport that you like, and that will also help you kind of move out of your head and into your body. And I know this seems very like unrelated to the topic when I suggest this, like move your body, like how is this related to extreme pessimism? But trust me, it is, because you will see the effects of this in some time. So so um, the the reason behind it is, when you join a class to dance or jog, or if you go for jogging, or if you join like a kung fu class, it's basically doing what I said in the first step, is it is moving you out of your brain and into your body. So when you feel like your body feels tired, or your body feels fatigued after a class or after a run or after a jog, you are actually bringing your awareness back into the body. And that's how it helps get rid of extreme pessimism, because the extreme pessimism is going on in the head. The dialogue of the extreme pessimism is going on in the head. So that's the reason for this suggestion. And then the last one is kind of like again back in the head. So it's something that you explain to yourself, is that accept that human beings are imperfect, and accept that you are imperfect, and everyone you ever meet in life is going to be imperfect, and everyone is just trying to do something with the energies that they have been given. And some people are skilled at it, and other people are extremely unskilled at it. So that is actually the truth of life. And people who are extremely unskilled at it are the people we categorize as people who have NPD, people who have bipolar disorder, entitled people, etc. So those are the people who do not know how to make full use of their energies that they have. And that is why people who live around such people have extreme imbalance of energy, because when you stay with someone who is not skilled at using their energies, you have to take on a part of the burden of managing their energy for them, because you have to live in this environment with them. So just accept that they are extremely unskilled, and just hope, if you want to hope that they learn some skills to use their energies, you can hope for that. Otherwise, just let them go, and let it go, and just try to leave such unskilled people out of your life, and focus on your own energy and how you can use your energy to do the best things that you want to do with your life. And that acceptance, when it really sinks in, what it does is it gives you a very realistic view of this world, where you will never put anyone up on a pedestal, neither will you ever lower any person down too much. You will just come to a very neutral, balanced understanding that this is the way the world is. Some people are more prone to do dark things, some people are more prone to do light things, some people are prone to live in the middle, in the sweet middle. And that's probably the place where you want to find yourself in. You don't want to be this super empath who's always rescuing people. At the same time, you don't want to be an extremely narcissistic person who's looking out for other people's energy to feed on. You want to be in the middle where you sit and you observe this play of life that is happening all around you. And that might not give you the zest for life that you had before the narcissistic abuse. But trust me, I have kind of been through that journey, and what I can tell you is you will regain a zest for life, but along with that zest, you will also have a certain amount of understanding and wisdom about this world, um, which will make you totally present in every moment that you live. And that's basically what will give you the zest to live life, because you will just enjoy the experience of life like it's a play, like it's a movie, like it's a simulation going on around you. And yeah, that is basically what I had to say on this topic. Sorry if you heard my dishwasher, it just stopped. So yeah, that was this video on how to deal with extreme pessimism after narcissistic abuse. I hope you all stay healthy, stay well, and thank you again for supporting this channel. As always, I wish you guys a lot of love and a lot of light. Thank you. Bye.